Okay, so my name is David Noon, and I've been now living in Asia for about 25 years, starting here in Vietnam in 1995, January 95. During that time, I've worked on lots of infrastructure projects. I've worked in other businesses, including management consulting, strategy consulting, and of course in the power industry in creating new projects. So I feel that I do have a unique perspective on the strategic and innovation needs of EVN. And so part of the reason I'm involved in this initiative is I can see that the structured and systematic way of thinking through a problem would work very well in the context of an organization like EVN and in a market like Vietnam. There are many reasons for that, but one of those reasons I feel is that we need change, but we need to be able to control that change in a certain way. With a large organization like EVN, simply letting everyone run around and come up with new ideas and change things may have unintended consequences which are difficult to manage. So I think that Blue Ocean strategy and the other tools and techniques that we use and that we draw on, like jobs to be done and design thinking and other tools and strategies and techniques, they each have a place in the manager's toolkit, and equipping EVN staff, management with those tools, that creates a sustainable process where we can change over time. Where that change can be owned and driven by the employees of EVN. And ultimately they are the ones who have to execute those changes and execute those ideas. So the philosophy of Blue Ocean strategy in enabling people to make the change and engaging with people within the organization, I think makes a lot of sense for the long-term strategic benefits of an organization like EVN. So that's kind of both why I'm doing this and what benefits I see, to some degree, what benefits I see EVN gaining from this. I think other benefits would include that whenever you start any new initiative, you do need to think of it from many different angles, and this is a big market. There are a lot of things going on, so having a very big committed team from within the organization gives you the best chance of success at creating something new. So I think that's important as well. I think it's extremely encouraging that the management and leadership from the CEO, Mr. Nhan, all the way through the people that we've worked with and met, I think it's very encouraging that they all show this level of commitment to bringing about change within the organization and doing that in a way that is sustainable for the future. So I think that's very encouraging. I think it's also been very encouraging to see the commitment of the staff. As you know, but some others may not be aware, that in addition to our classroom sessions over these last 6 weeks that we've been working on this, we've also engaged each of the groups individually during the 2-week breaks within this program. So they've had additional tasks to perform They've had surveys and interviews to be conducted. We've had online meetings to clarify different parts of the program and give additional training, and provided the online resources. So that it's taken a lot of commitment and energy from the groups, and they've done very well at that. So that's been very encouraging to see that they've stepped up to what's been required and maintain that level of commitment and energy. You may hear in the background, the groups are all working on their tasks right now for this afternoon session. So we shall see in a few minutes the innovative ideas that they've come up with. Right? So I think the last sort of benefit and good point about this is we're equipping these leaders with tools that they can use later in other contexts. And those tools are not just for coming up with an innovative idea, but also to improve communication. And communication in any organization is a critical skill that we all need to master. So helping people improve the way they communicate about ideas and complex subjects and topics, I think that's a very big benefit to the organization, regardless of the other ideas that come out of it. But these managers will be equipped with tools that you could go to MIT and study and learn about it, or you could have some of those things come to you in this format. So I think it's exceptionally good value for the participants as well. We shall see what great ideas they come up with. Yeah. So I think that's it.
Okay. One more question. Do you have any recommendation for EVN headquarters and also other, like EVNs?
Recommendations.
For innovation and for such things like the theory of blue ocean can be like spread out their organization and like in order to improve their service and their business.
Yeah. So I would suggest starting by looking at your people and thinking about how we could form specialist teams to look at the customer experience by bringing together people from very different perspectives and different parts of the organization, and even possibly one or two people from outside the organization that are closely related to us in some way, to help come up with new ways of looking at things, right? I think if we always repeat the same things, we're going to get very similar results. So approaching things a little bit differently can lead to some new things. So an example would be many years ago, the Malaysian Health Tourism Council wanted to tackle this idea of improving the level of service, because they have to compete with Singapore and Thailand and other places that the level of service is so good. And if you've ever been to Malaysia, you would know that generally the level of service is not that fantastic. So in order to tackle that, one of the ideas they came up with was to bring in professionals with experience in the hotel industry, food and beverage and hotel hospitality. And they came in and added into the mix of the staff from the hospitals to give the perspective of how would you show your customers that you care. from a different perspective, right? From, in their case, from the hospitality perspective. So I think bringing those new perspectives into our discussion would be extremely powerful. So I would start from the people that you have involved in the initiative and try to make sure that that group represents a diverse cross-section of different kinds of people from across the company and possibly from across some other industries that you want to learn from or borrow from. So if we're doing something on finance, we would bring in somebody who has some experience on reaching out in finance. If we want to do customer service, let's look at who does customer service best and let's learn from them and borrow some of those techniques and ideas. Some will work in our current structure, some will need us to change a little bit, and some won't work at all. But we should at least look to learn from the best in each field that we're looking for. It's a simple way to do it faster. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. That's all I want to ask you now.
That's all?
That's all.
Okay.
There's one more thing I want to ask you, but it doesn't need to be recorded.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you, anh.